Yo, what's going on, guys? Today we have a very fun video planned. We're combining two things that I love, the Beyblade Metal series and the NBA. In today's video, we're going to be giving an MVP award for every arc in Beyblade Metal Fusion. In NBA terms, the MVP, or the Most Valuable Player award, pretty much determines which player across the entire league had the best season. So in Beyblade terms, we're going to look at every single arc and determine which blader had the best performances in each arc, and determine who deserves the MVP award. But the fun twist here is that there isn't a formulaic answer. In the NBA, the criteria for the MVP award seems to be very flexible on a year-by-year basis. Sometimes we give it to the best player on the best team, other times it goes to the guy who put up the best stats, or it can even be a mix of both. Also, there's always narratives at play and voter fatigue, which we will talk about soon. But basically, all of this is to say that the strongest blader won't always win the MVP. There are tons of other factors at play. I mean, if the NBA strictly gave the MVP to the best player in the world every year, LeBron would have like 10, Curry would have 5 maybe, but this isn't the case. You factor in stats, team success, which is a huge one, and storylines as well. Now, to go back to Beyblade, this means that just because Ryuga, for example, appears in an arc, that doesn't automatically mean he's going to win the MVP. Sure, most of the time, Ryuga is definitely the strongest blader in the arcs which he appears in, but we're judging this on a performance basis. So, the criteria for the MVP of an arc is how many people did you battle, how many wins did you get, how good were the opponents you faced, which is a huge one, and then if you won Battle Bladers, the World Championships, or some other tournament in a specific arc, we'll take that into account too. Also, if a blader has an abnormal amount of growth within a specific arc and heavily improves and has some good wins, we'll factor that in too. So now that we have the criteria more or less laid out, we've got one more thing to discuss before jumping in, and that is voter fatigue. In the NBA, this basically refers to the people who vote for the MVP award getting tired of one candidate always winning it. Obviously, there's more to it, but that sums it up pretty well. For example, in 2023, the MVP race in the NBA was between Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. Both players put up phenomenal seasons, but Joel Embiid came out on top. But in the previous 2 years, Nikola Jokic had won both MVPs back-to-back, and this would have been his third MVP in a row, which is something that hadn't been done since the great Larry Bird in the 80s. But because of Jokic's lack of postseason success, some voters were hesitant to vote for him again. And look, I'm not saying that's why Jokic lost. I mean, even though it's the popular thing to hate on Joel Embiid now, in 2023, he put up a fantastic season. But this is one particular MVP race where people claim voter fatigue played a role. You could also argue that LeBron lost a few MVPs due to voter fatigue. Needless to say, it's a common thing. So, are we going to have voter fatigue play a factor in our Beyblade MVP races? I'd say for the most part, no. But if we're getting tired of voting Jenga every time, and someone else has a fantastic arc with a cool narrative story, well, we could probably switch it up. That'll be on a case-by-case basis, though. What I can pretty much promise you is that everyone who will get this award deserves it. Also, one more thing that's pretty cool is the unanimous MVP. This is when an MVP winner gets every single first place vote, making his winning of the award unanimous. Stephen Curry is the only player in history to do this. So what does this mean for us? Basically, if a blader is clearly the MVP of an arc and there isn't much competition on his level, they have the chance at being a unanimous MVP. So now with all of that out of the way, we're finally ready to jump into our first arc. And by the way, I'm going to be using the same arcs that I used in the Power Ranking series. So it's not the official arcs, but they work. So let's jump into Arc 1. Pegasus has landed, episodes 1 through 7. The MVP here is easily Jenga. In fact, I'm going to name him the unanimous MVP of Arc 1. Now, I don't want to hand out that unanimous title very often, but man, Jenga deserves it here. In these first few episodes, he is head and shoulders above the rest. He won against 100 bladers. He beat Kiyoya, Benkei, everyone at the B pit. I mean, Jenga was on a tear. Doji gets second place, Kiyoya gets third. They had some good performances, but nothing really compared to Jenga's. So now moving on to Arc 2, we have Kiyoya Returns, which is episodes 8 through 10, and we've got a back-to-back MVP on our hands as Jenga wins it once again. But this time it's no longer unanimous as Kiyoya put up quite the performance in this arc. He goes to Wolf Canyon, he gets stronger, he destroys Kenta and Benkei, and then he gives Jenga a very good fight. But at the end of the day, Jenga does beat him, so it's hard to not vote Jenga here. So yeah, Kiyoya is an easy second place, but for third place, there wasn't really a great candidate. Doji dropped out of the race because he didn't battle in this arc, so I'm actually going to put Hikaru in third. She had a good fight against Jinga, which is more than what Kenta or Benkei did in this arc. So now let's move on to the Forbidden Bay arc, which is episodes 11 through 14, and we have a new MVP. Ryuga pretty decisively takes this one to the point where I'm giving him the unanimous title. I know I wanted to keep that unanimous award exclusive, but dude, Ryuga just beat up on the back-to-back MVP like it was nothing. He's on a completely different level right now. This is pretty unanimous. And then Jinga, second place, Kyoya, third place is fair. They didn't really do much. So now moving on to the Coma Village arc, which is episodes 15 through 19. Y'all gotta hear me out before you flame me, but the MVP here is going to Hiyoma. I know that sounds crazy, but look, he beat Kenta, he beat Benkei, and he put up a great fight against Jinga. Second place is gonna go to Jinga, who, even though he did beat Hiyoma, he didn't do anything else in this arc, and then Benkei gets third place for giving Hiyoma a good match. Definitely let me know what y'all think about those rankings. I know Hiyoma being the MVP is probably controversial. He's definitely gonna be the worst MVP of the video, I think, but for this arc, it's hard to argue that he doesn't deserve it. So now, moving on, we have the Survival Battle arc, which is episodes 20 through 22, and this MVP goes to Yu. Even though he loses to Ryuga, Yu 1v3'd some very good competition, and he came out on top against Jinga and Kyoya. And he won a tournament, which always helps. Second place goes to Kyoya for an impressive win over Hiyoma, and then we got Jinga in third place for giving Yu a good fight. You could argue that Jinga should be above Kyoya, but that win against Hiyoma at this point in the series for Kyoya is pretty impressive, so I gave him second place. This arc was pretty easy in my opinion. So now we're going to move on to our next arc. We have the Road to Battle Bladers arc, which is episodes 23 through 39. And just like we did in the Power Ranking series, I'm going to split this one up because it's just a really long arc. I'm just going to reuse those same segments I used for the Power Ranking series. It's not split up evenly, but it should do the job. So, Road to Battle Bladers segment 1, episodes 23 through 25. The MVP goes to Kyoya. He had a big win over Tobio, who at the time was a formidable opponent, and he won a big tournament. Second place, we can go Jinga for his win over Tsubasa. Even though Tsubasa was clearly holding back, Jinga still won a pretty big tournament. And then third place, we can give to Tobio because no one else really did much, and he did pretty good against Kyoya. Now, for segment 2 of Road to Battle Bladers, episodes 26 through 32, the MVP goes to Tsubasa. He was toying with Yu, which, mind you, this is someone who beat a 2-time MVP, and he's an MVP himself. He easily beat Kenta and other Dark Nebula guys. I think this one's pretty deserved for Tsubasa. And then we got Kyoya in second place because he beat Hikaru, and then he won the Stormy Battle Royale. And then Jinga in third place for a very solid win against Ryutaro. But now moving on to the final segment of Road to Battle Bladers, episodes 33 through 39, we got Ryuga claiming his second MVP. In this arc, he beats Ryutaro, Tobio, at the same time, and then he cooked Tsubasa. Then we got Jinga in second place for beating Teru, Tobio, and even Phoenix. And then we have Phoenix in third place for beating Jinga, Tsubasa, and a few others, I think. I think those rankings are fair. Ryuga is the clear number 1 here, and then Jinga and Phoenix both have wins over each other, but I think Jinga did more impressive things in this arc, so that's why I put him second. So now we can move on to the final arc of the video. We have the Battle Bladers arc, episodes 40 through 51. And ladies and gentlemen, Jinga gets his hands on a third MVP as he beats Ryuga, Reggie, Ryutaro, and Yu. Those are some massive wins. And then we got Ryuga in second place for his wins against Hikaru and Kyoya and Tsubasa. Some pretty big names there. He also kind of no-diffed Doji. And then we got Kyoya in third place, mainly for how well he did against Ryuga. At that point, no one else had challenged him like that. And that takes us to the end of Metal Fusion. To tally things up, we have Jinga on top with 3 MVPs, one of which being unanimous, 2 being back-to-back. Then we have Ryuga with 2 MVPs, one of which also being unanimous. And then we have Kyoya, Yu, Tsubasa, and Hiyoma, all with 1 MVP award. So what do you guys think? Did someone get robbed of an MVP? Please let me know. It is sometimes a little hard to differentiate who deserves it when it's a competitive arc. Like, there's a few arcs from this video where you really could have gone with one guy or the other. So let me know what you think about my choices. Let me know if you want to see a part 2 with Metal Masters. That would definitely be fun to make. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching the video, for liking the video, commenting, subscribing. It means a lot. Thanks for all the support on the Iceberg video specifically. That one took a while to make, and it seems like it's being received pretty well. As always, let me know what you guys want to see next, and I will see you in the next video.